Hello there folks, it is TIJ Gaming and welcome back to the Tour de France games. Today we have our first video on today's new release, Tour de France 2021. And we're going to be starting our Tour de France adventure, I think once again with the Ineos Grenadiers. Now we did a lot of content on Tour de France 2020 and Nakon have very kindly offered me another review code for this year's version of the game. Now I've done a little bit of training just to get myself back into it. It's probably been about 6 months since I've played one of these games properly. And it's fair to say, without sounding too ignorant, that the game hasn't changed too much. It's the same sort of base game, but there are a few small changes. I've heard that the peloton now acts a little bit more realistically, and there are less breakaways, and I think both of those should add to the experience. But let's get straight into the Tour de France 2021 and see how we go. Of course, if you're going to enjoy this video, make sure to leave a like. I'm going to be doing all 21 stages of the Tour de France. Probably taking it quite slowly, maybe doing one every 2 days, but we'll see how we go. I think we'll go with the default difficulty, the default compositions, and we'll play solo. But I'm really looking forward to this, so thanks again to Nakon for giving me a code, and these will be out every couple of days at 6 PM, hopefully. But we'll see how we go, and I'll keep you updated throughout the timings and that. So we are going to go with Ineos Grenadiers. Now, the bonus this year is that I actually know what I'm doing somewhat. Last year we got a little bit skewy, let's just say, with the second stage. There was a massive breakaway, and that was all she wrote. So let's have a look at the teams. So we've got Egan Bernal, we've got Ganna, Port, Denis Kwiatkowski, Geraint Thomas, Castroviejo, and Duplessis. So who else have we got in the wings? We've got Carapaz, Gegenhardt, Yates, Martinez. Those are the only... I mean, Ben Swift. Oh, this is bringing back great memories of my pro team from last year. But you know what? I think that's a pretty well-rounded team. I do. Ganna's a good, solid rider all round. We've got a few good mountain riders. I think, obviously, Bernal's going to be number one. Is it whether we take Chris Froome? Is Chris Froome still in the team, or is Chris Froome gone now? Yeah, Chris Froome's gone. Yeah, that's going to be a big miss for the Ineos Grenadiers. So, Bernal, Port, Thomas, Kwiatkowski, I think Denis as well. I'm struggling to convince myself. I really want to put Gegenhardt in there. I really want to get Gegenhardt in there somehow. You know what, let's not take Port and go with Gegenhardt instead. I think apart from that, we'll keep things pretty much the same. Maybe Duplessis to come out for... and we'll put Yates in there, possibly. Yeah, we'll put Yates in there. I think that's the team we're going to go with. And there we go.
Hi guys, welcome to the briefing for this first stage. Today is a tiring route, where the closing kilometers should suit the punchers. We're amongst the outsiders for the stage win, but the odds are fairly open, and we can hope for more than a podium place if we play our cards right. Good race, guys. Go, go!
Oh, that brings back good memories. Obviously, of course, we have a different course for the Tour de France as it does every year. Last year it was that 3 circuits around Nice for the start of the Tour de France. And just looking, stage number 5 is a time trial. So that time trial comes very, very early on this year. So we're going from Brest to Landerneau. A couple of small climbs potential, but I don't think there's anything of too much worry. In fact, the first couple of stages aren't really going to decide anything. It's stages 8 and 9 that are really going to... come into play. I'm just looking, I think there's just, there's 2 time trials. So there's 2 time trials this year. I think there was only 1 last year, but a few hilly stages at the end, and of course, doesn't change that they're going to Paris-Champs-Élysées at the end. So let's get into that first stage. So we're going from Brest to Landerneau, with a route taking it through Loch Ronan and Quimper to a finish on top of a 3-kilometre climb at 6%. This stage will reward the efforts of quite some puncher, and the stage should come down to the final obstacle. So I don't think there's too much need to put somebody in the breakaway today. Just an introduction to the Tour de France. I think that today it's just learning the game again. And unlike last year, not being out of it at the start. You can see favourites for this stage. We've got a Philippe. That's meant to be, I think. I think a Felix is an unlicensed name. Roglic and Hershey are the favourites for this one. So I'll see you guys in a second for the start of the stage. The first stage of the Tour de France.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Grand Départ of this Tour de France. Located entirely in the Finistère department, this first day of racing should be stage managed by the punchers teams. With a finish on a short 3-kilometre climb, the most explosive riders will surely find an ideal terrain to claim the first yellow jersey of this 2021 edition.
Oh, it's looking glorious, isn't it? For the Grand Départ for 2021. Just sticking with Bernal for now. Again, I don't think it's going to be anything too special today. Yes, somebody might develop somewhat of a lead, but it's not going to be anybody special. So I'm not too fussed about being in there. There might be a sprint that we might go for. It all depends how many of the guys are in there for that sprint, whether we go for it too much or not.
They won't want to pass up the opportunity to take the yellow jersey. Everything should be played out on the final climb. Have a good race.
Yeah, it should just be a good race today. I think we're just going to get a few annoying tutorial bits and pieces while we start this Tour de France. But obviously we know that we've got Bernal for the general classification. He's our favourite for that. I think Theo Gegenhardt would be the man for the mountains classification. He did so well in the My Team or Pro Team career mode that he seemed a convincing pick. And I think, well actually no, Gegenhardt or Kwiatkowski. Of course Kwiatkowski won the mountains classification and the points classification, if you remember, in our playthrough last year. And I think, you know, we'll just look at the sprinters and see how we get on. I don't think the sprinting classification is one we're necessarily too bothered about, but as it goes a little bit further and we've got someone in there, that we might as well tackle it. Obviously, that's helped if you can get somebody in the breakaway as well with the sprinting classification. But I don't think it's going to be too many highlights from the stage, so we're just going to ride along, probably fast forward a lot of it. But of course, as always, if there are any highlights, I'll skip forward to them for you guys. So no problems so far. We've had the first two mountains classification climbs. Only 4th class, so only a point available to the top guy who finishes first over that climb. You can see there's a breakaway of 4 riders. None of them really any problem for the general classification. So we've let them go at the moment. And our guy's just chilling in the peloton. I think Ganna is protecting Bernal, I would say. Gegenhardt and Geraint Thomas not in the best condition for this stage, so we'll have to protect them a little bit. But fortunately, it's not necessarily a mountainous start, so you know they can have a few stages where they don't do too much, and then hopefully they can recover for the stage to come. Because Gegenhardt and Geraint Thomas are going to be 2 of our front runners. Although Bernal is going to be our front runner, if all else fails, then Gegenhardt and Thomas are definitely our second runners. But again, not too much going on, I don't think, today. As you can see, we've got a 3rd class climb, but because the breakaway is so far away, there's no point tackling that, because of course 3rd class climbs only the top 2 get any points. So I think the next time you'll probably see us is for that first sprint, because we might just go for that. There's only 4 in the breakaway, might as well try and get a decent haul of points with somebody like Dennis or Castroviage, or maybe even, I think it's Adam Yates. So we are 5 kilometres away from the first sprint of this year's Tour de France, and we're going to go for it with Mikhail Kwiatkowski. He is our best sprinter of the team, a rating of 71, which I don't know how that compares to the best sprinters. But we'll go for it early on, try and get ourselves some points. Again, I remember that I won the green classification, which is the points classification, with Mikhail in last year's edition of the game. So we've got half a chance. Got a bit of a climb here, so it might be an idea to try and just push away in this area. Oops. I know what the intermediate sprint's all about. Don't worry. Let's try and push people along. Bring a few people for the ride, and that's it. Back down to the normal pace now, just to make sure we're not using any more of our red energy, if you like, than we need. Okay, the peloton's come back to us a little bit now, but you can see that, again, the clear front runners are there. So we'll just put a bit more pace in now. We want to go about the kilometre line, from what I remember. Try and sneak a little bit of feed before that line. And let's go. Let's see how we go. We're not really bothered about finishing first here of this group, but we are going to use too much of our red gel. So that's just something to know for future reference. You know, it's not not massive at the end of the day. We've got 12th in that, and we'll soon recover that red gel. But again, you know, it's just about learning the trade again ultimately. But yeah, that's not too bad at all. We took a couple of points there. I don't think any of our other teammates joined us. So let's just wait for the following group. And again, just protect our leaders, and we should be absolutely fine till the end. Again, we've got a 4th class climb, and I will probably catch the guys in the breakaway, Shukins, Valgren, Edet, and Palucci by the end of the race. And probably looking for either Yates, Kwiatkowski, or perhaps Dennis to go for a stage victory here. So we're just keeping an eye on all of our energy levels. The blue gel had dropped a little bit. And as you can see, we are starting to come up somewhat of a climb now. But I don't think it's going to be anything of an issue. We're going to want to use all that feed towards the end of the race. So, yeah, that looks absolutely fine. And as you can see, we're priming Yates, I think, to go for this stage victory. Again, he's in very good condition. Makes the most sense for him to go for it. We're only 30 seconds away from the front group. And we should be catching them any time now. So there's just over 10 kilometres left. A few of the guys in the field starting to go backwards. I've noticed, I'm sure. There we go. There's Chris Froome right at the back. So his Tour de France is over before it's even started. Trying to make sure all of our guys remain in the peloton. I don't think there should be any problem with that. Yes, there are some low on the red gel, but it's natural, you know, there's ups and downs with this. And as you can see, Kwiatkowski with us, Geraint Thomas, Theo Gegenhardt. And I think Yates is going to be our main man here. If we lose a few seconds, I'm not really going to be too bothered again. I don't think the likes of Fuglsang, we can see there. Fuglsang and Roglic, I understand, are the two big uns, unless anything's changed. But again, we've got this little downwards curve you can see with the altitude change. The gradient, that's exactly the word I was looking for. Whether it was an upwards or downwards trajectory. And you can see we're not having to put too much effort in there. And there's no point using a feed rather than saving a bit of energy. Obviously, you can keep saving energy and you can get that back, but you can't get a feed back.
The race leaders are entering Landerneau.
So we are entering Landerneau. Not Landerneau. That's in Wales. But I just want to make sure everyone's going to be okay. So we'll keep an eye on them as we get to the climb. But the aim is to get Yates at the front, so this is just going to be, again, a little bit of a opportunity to school ourselves again. Again, not too much of a risk if we have a problem, but all of our guys still remain in the peloton. And we'll get them to take a feed before long. And I don't know whether we start to attack this with Yates. I don't see any harm in doing so. We can take our feed towards the top. And here comes the big climb. So, probably, let's just check. Yep, status check. That's okay for the moment. We'll have another status check with 2Ks to go. Just to check everyone is okay. But we've got a good lead. We are going alone in this stage. You can see the gap to the peloton is decreasing though now. I can only presume somebody's going for it. It is Pogačar. Pogačar is going for this. And Lopez going to try and follow Lopez here. But the peloton has come anyway. So, I think what we're going to do... Bernal is looking low. So, we'll... keep an eye on that. We'll probably... in fact, that's the highest the climb's going to get, so I'm not too worried. So with 2Ks to go, I think we'll get everyone to take their red gel at this point. Apart from the main few. We'll just get Yates to take the rest of his red gel. Pogačar's got a slight lead at this point. We just need to make sure of this. And those who haven't took their red feed, we can put them on the blue stuff. Okay. It's all about timing with this. It's all about timing. I don't think we're going to peak the likes of Pogačar up here. That's fair to say. And Roglic is going for this. So I think we're going to get a bit of an early move on here. Final kilometre. Annoyingly, no one's finished their feed, so we don't want... okay, we're going to have to look at that about half a K out. But we are leading at the moment. For some reason, there's a bit of a glitch with the game. The frame rate's completely dropped. Blue gel, red gel for Thomas, blue gel for Castroviasia. That's all we can do at this point. Let's just power it out with Yates. And it should be a stage victory. We have won the first stage of the Tour de France by quite a margin to the rest. We'll take that. And you know what? I think, as you can see, no one's blown up. There's no problem with that. Just lost a little bit of energy. And, you know, it might be 10 or 15 seconds. It's not going to be the end of the world at this stage. Again, it'll all balance itself out. But a nice stage victory to get us kicked off here. Chris Froome, last of the finishers. So an absolute disaster for him. But Yates was all by himself at the end there. I don't think anybody was too bothered about going for it in this first stage. But nonetheless, it was nice to get an opening stage victory. Obviously 20 points in the green jersey classification. Which might well put us in the lead. Let's see. And a couple of points in the climbing classification as well. So, of course, we'll get the yellow jersey. And that'll be something to take on into the second stage. I think it's Adam Yates. I'll have to check on that before the next video. He is someone that's probably new to the team. I don't recognise the name. It might have been in the reserves last year, but certainly didn't get a place in the Ineos team last year. But looks good enough for me. And obviously, he's going to lead the general classification. Get himself the yellow jersey. And let's see who leads the other. So, the leader of the points classification is going to be Valgren. Leader of the best climbers as well. Young Riders goes to Pogacar, who won, of course, the Tour de France last year. Bit of a surprise over Roglic, who led the whole Tour de France up to that last few stages. And as you can see, a good start. You know, we've got a 10-second bonus, so don't be worried about the likes of Kwiatkowski, Bernal, Gegenhardt and Ganna. Bit disappointing that Thomas and Dennis finished a couple of seconds back, but looking at this, it's not a massive issue because, as you can see, they're 40th and 41st, so it's not going to be a massive issue, I don't think. If you look at the best climbers, Yates gets 2 points, 20 points in the points classification, and Bernal and Ganna both in that young riders classification. So, good start for us here. Obviously, the general classification will match what it was from that first stage. And we just have a preview for the second stage before we get into the next video. And this might be a bit mad, but who knows? Let's go for it. This is going to be released at 9 o'clock as per the developers' embargo on this. If this video gets 21 likes before 6 PM, stage 2 will be live at 6 PM. If not, it'll be live at 4 PM on Friday. I do snooker videos on a few days a week, so it might just have to be jigged around for that. But if we can get 21 likes before the day is out, I will release stage number 2 at 6 PM. So thank you very much for watching, folks. I hope you've enjoyed this first stage of the Tour de France. Certainly went a lot better than last year's. And as you can see, Kwiatkowski's in the top 10 as well. So brilliant stuff. It's going to be a lot bit tougher this one. There's a lot more climbs, so we've got to keep everything in focus. But I'm sure we'll be able to do that. And then probably we'll be looking to maybe do stages 3 and 4 in one video again. Not really too much in there. Good for the green classification, but nothing else. Then we'll have the time trial on a flat stage, and then obviously these 3 will all be in separate videos. But once again, I hope you've enjoyed. Leave a like if you did. 21 likes, and the second stage will be out later on today. And also remember to subscribe if you're new for regular Tour de France 2021 content. A new game. I'm so excited. I hope you guys are too. I've been TIJ Gaming, and until the next time, I will see you guys later. Goodbye for now.